You've turned their pages, now hear their voices. Today we have the amazing author, Isla. Hi, Isla.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. So let's dive into Siren because I have a lot to say about it.
Okay, let's hear it.
Well, let's hear your inspiration for this book.
Okay, so my inspiration, I actually was in a very bad sort of toxic relationship for a while and I left it. But I had like a lot of unresolved emotional sort of trauma and pain to work through. So I just started, they say writing is cheaper than therapy. So I just started writing. And I think that my journey sort of mirrors the character because she goes through a lot of upfront, very painful things. And then as the book goes on, she gets stronger and stronger. And I feel like that's what happened with me too.
Your main female character is not weak by any stretch of the imagination. She is a warrior through and through. So I'm sorry that you went through a tough time, but honestly, you wrote an amazing book.
Thank you so much.
Heal some of us in it. So let's talk about your female main character and
Mhm.
your main male character. Where did you come up with them?
I think that Serena, again, I think she mirrors a lot of my journey. So there's a lot of me that's reflected in her. And then Gray, I've just had so many sort of very close friends. I think Gray is an amalgamation of all of my friends and the adventures that we used to get, up to, but also sort of where I wanted to get in my life. Back to feeling like myself and having fun, and she's always with him, and he's her rock basically.
Gray really is. Serena goes through the trenches in
Hmm.
your book. Siren, she goes through it.
Yeah.
But she comes out stronger on the other
Hmm.
side. And
Yeah.
I can't give away too much of the book because you guys just need to read it. You definitely had me crying at 1:30 this
Oh.
morning. Is that when I messaged you? It was 1:30 in the morning,
Oh.
2:30 your time. Um, wasn't expecting that. I kind of knew something was going on. I was like over there biting my finger. My husband's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. I just
Yeah.
know it. It's building up." And then it happens.
Yeah.
And then and I was kind of prepared. I thought I was. And I'm like, "Okay, this happened." But then the emotions hit because you just keep reading it and it just the more you read, the more gut wrenching it is. You have an amazing plot, though. You have a great plot. The story leading up to it, though. And I can tell that your emotions were really strong in your
Hmm.
book because your characters have strong emotions. And Gray, I adore him. I
Oh, really?
adore him. I like Gray. I do. There's also another male character that I'm also fondly of. So, you know, what's a couple more book boyfriends?
Gray is a good guy. He is definitely her rock, but I wrote it in such a way that you could also root for Rune if you wanted to. And I've heard from readers that they ship both of the guys.
Oh yeah, I love Rin. Hmm. Yep. There's something magical about him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it comes down to that whole pivotal scene when they get into a fight and everything that they say during that fight. It sort of forces the reader to sort of think about what they think Serena needs and where she can get it and who's right and who's wrong. And I try to do that a lot with my writing, is force readers to see both sides, and then they have to pick a side.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie though. I thought this was going to be a why choose. I really, I really thought in a couple places. I'm like, is this gonna be a why choose? Is it? And listen, I was for Gray the whole time. I was for him, adore him,
Hmm.
and then Rune came along, and I'm like, okay, all right. And then I was rooting for both of them. I'm not going to give away too much. It is so hard not to say a lot because I absolutely adore your book. It takes you on an emotional roller coaster, which I was not prepared for. I'm going to just tell you. That emotional roller coaster was something, and it hits different at 1:30 in the morning. And by the way, the never mind. I'm not gonna say it too early. There is definitely a female character I absolutely despise. And I kind of was hoping that you'd offer. I'm not gonna lie.
Offer what? Sorry, you cut out a little bit. What did you say? Offer what?
I was hoping that you'd kind of offer. You'd kind of unalive Serena's mom.
Oh,
Can we call her that? I'm not so sure. Because Homegirl is wretched.
well, it's a trilogy. That's all I can say about that.
I have I have some things. When is book number two being released?
It is at the end of the month. So Siren comes to Audible at the end of October, and then book two, Twilight, picks up where Siren leaves off with the invasion. And yeah, it's coming out in October. It's up for pre-order now, and
Look, as soon
it's
as it
gonna
hit,
hit different, I think, because the childhood part, the part one of Siren, was really laying a groundwork for the world and the characters. But then we hit the ground running in book two, and then book three, which I've already started writing because book two's with editors right now. Uh, it's gonna just slam you.
so we're in for more emotional roller coasterness. Is
Oh
that even a
God,
word? I don't know, but we're making it up.
it's gonna be brutal.
Oh, I'm so excited for that. The amount the amount of anguish that books have put me through this year
Mhm.
has been astronomical. And your book is it's a feel good book. I mean, there's lots of positives, but when it hits, it hits.
Yeah, yeah. I think book two is as well. There's going to be gut-wrenching scenes, but overall, it is positive. But yeah, it slaps.
I'm really excited. I'm kind of scared now. I'm not even gonna lie. Can you give us a little teaser from book number two if you feel inclined?
Um, well, as far as teasers go, we're picking up. There are about 8 plot twists, so it's very difficult for me to do too much. It's too spoilerish, but I will say that Mab, Serena's mother, but also Meriden, her adopted Siren mother, they both get prisoner interrogation scenes that I put back to back to contrast who the two of them are in her life. And that's a good one. And then there's sort of a prisoner torture scene from Mab, and we get to really see what she is. And in Siren, I do a lot of sort of reflections, like first person POV, just for little snippets to give an idea. There are some for the first time you've seen Gray. For the first time, you get Rune, you get Seraphine, and you get Jormungandr. So you will hear from them.
This sounds like it's going to wreck me. I'm excited. Now, Mab is my least favorite character in
Mm-hmm.
all of it. Um, if I could punch her in the face, I would. I mean, putting
Yeah.
it lightly. The cliffhanger. The
Yeah.
cliffhanger. I wanted to call you last night and be like, "What the fuck?" Because I was so enthralled by the whole thing and I wanted more. I wanted to know what happened next.
Yep. Yep.
So, I mean, let's get wrecked for October, I guess. Putting that in my
October.
calendar.
Yep.
Mm,
There are so many plot twists. There's a lot of mysteries and there are a lot of unknowns in Siren. And she starts to find things out and put together pieces that they didn't know were missing pieces. And then sort of all hell breaks loose.
that's putting it lightly. Listen, I'm not all for, you know, the battle scenes,
Hmm.
but you did an amazing job with it.
Thank you.
Do you know what day you're releasing that in October?
October 15th.
Did you already say that? Or am I just having a brain?
No, no, no. October 15th is what I've set up so far for the pre-orders. And it looks like it's on track to be released right about that time. And then 2 weeks later is boom, there's Siren as Audible. And it sounds really amazing too. I keep having to sit on clips that the narrator sends me, and she's amazing. And I just get so excited because I hear the voices and I just get goosebumps.
And you've already picked your narrators
Mm-hmm.
for your books.
Yep,
And who
Lauren
have you chosen?
Rodriguez. She's really
I knew
good.
that. I
She
just
is
wanted our
really good.
viewers to know. She is. I'm like I feel like a stalker sometimes on your page because I just sit there and like, oh, is there an update? Oh, you know, it's one of those books that I didn't like. I couldn't put down. I read for hours and hours and hours straight because it doesn't just come out of nowhere, right? You're really great at building the story and walking us through it, and they have real emotions, and they go through not per se real life stuff because is that real life? It's fantasy, but you can put aspects into your real life of
Hmm.
like, okay,
Hmm.
well,
Yeah, I tried to make it very real, and I often sit there on the couch, sort of acting out the dialogue and sort of screaming at the wall to make sure that I get the right emotions. And I do a lot of dungeon master stuff. I do D&D as well. So I sort of have taken years of putting players through different campaigns and making them feel things, and I just put it out on paper.
I really love that for all of us. How long did it take you to write Siren?
Mm, I'm a plotter, so for me to work out all the chapters, it had started coming to me in bits and pieces. Like I said, I was working through some sort of unresolved trauma, and so it was coming to me in these bits and pieces, these scenarios and sort of conversations, and I collected those for maybe 6 months. And not all of them are in Siren. Some of them are in the other two books. But I sort of collected them for about 6 months, and I just wrote everything down in these different pieces. And then finally, I felt like I had enough of a story to sort of plot it. And when I plotted it, I did the entire trilogy by chapter with chapter summaries, and I just split it all up, moved it around. And I think once I started actually writing, it was about 10 weeks. 10 weeks, I just plowed through it. But, I've said that in some of the videos on my post is I come from academia. I did my master's and I'm finishing up my doctorate right now. So I think my brain has just been hardwired, for like deadlines and word counts and just spitting out assignments every single week. So I'm just hardwired to sit down and just crank out page after page after page. But so yeah, I would say it was about 10 weeks to crank out Siren, and then it had to go through its editing process and everything to get it where it was and release it. I did the covers myself, like most Indian, and yeah, I think Twilight Book Two took me, because I already knew at that point what was going to happen. I think that took about 8 weeks to write, but now it's with editors right now.
That's really exciting. I'm really glad that Twilight is coming out. When did Siren get published?
July 11th.
Oh, so you don't make us wait on cliffhangers too long.
No, no, I kind of hate cliffhangers. But I did want to make it interesting to lead you into the next books. And book two is also a cliffhanger, and it's worse. It's worse, so much worse.
So what you're telling me is don't read Twilight when it comes out. Wait a hot minute and then read it so I won't have to wait long.
Well, like I said, I'm writing book three now while I wait for the editors to be done with Twilight, and it's called Legacy. So Legacy, I am hoping will be out by Christmas if I can really sit down and really crank it out. It's September now, so I'm hoping that I can get it cranked out by Christmas. And then I have been hit up by multiple people who have read Siren. They want to know more about Jormungandr and they want to know more about Seraphine. So I'm doing spin-off books in the first quarter of next year. Jormungandr is going to get his own. It's going to be a prequel about the reign of him and Tatiana.
Listen, he is a great man. I adore him. I mean, if anybody needs a father figure, that would be him.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, exactly. And Jormungandr is based partially on my father, and I lost him to cancer about 10 years ago. He's partially based on my father, and then partially based on just um, what I want in relationships with good men. I haven't actually had it in my life, but it's what I want, what I idealize. So yeah, he's a very good guy. And the prequel, because he's about 3,000 years old, so the prequel is going to cover a lot of ground, but it's going to be talking about the reign of him and Tatiana, because when I talk about his relationship with Serena and her relationship with Mab, she's basically rejected by Mab for not looking like Mab's dead mate. But at the same time, Jormungandr, her grandfather, adopts her because she looks like his dead mate. So, yeah, he's a good guy. And we
Yeah.
will talk about, like why he loves Tatiana as much as he does, why Serena reminds him of Tatiana, and it's going to be a good time.
No, you put a pretty bow on Siren and their relationship. And I think
Mhm.
that's very important for all readers. I think a lot of women, and maybe I shouldn't say a lot, but you know, a good portion of society hasn't had a good male leader, like a
Mhm.
good male model in their life. Most readers go into books and they're like, okay, well, this makes me happy and this inspires me and this is what I want. If women could just read books and know their worth
Mhm.
and manifest a man like that, I think we'd all be happy. Book boyfriends is a real thing.
Yep. And he is one. He's got like daddy energy, I think.
Calling all the girls who have daddy issues.
And yeah, he gets a bigger part in book two as well. And I think I actually published like a snippet or something. And I've had, it's really interesting in as far as narrators go, because I had to shop around to get my perfect narrator for Siren, because it was my debut and I was unknown, but it's really taken off and it's done really well. So when I started, I was in a chat with somebody's live. And then I was listening to a narrator and he's just doing his thing. And somebody else was asking me about the book. And I tossed out that bone. I said, Jormunder's getting his own book. And the narrator stopped and he's just like, I will voice that book for you if you. So I was like, oh my God. So it's fun now because now people are like, yeah, they're willing to do it for me and take a chance on me.
Listen, you deserve all those chances. Siren is a beautiful book. And shout out to our TikTok community for
Mm-hmm.
pulling everybody together. It's really supportive and great way to make friends and build each other up. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It takes a
yeah,
village. It really does. And I was talking about that yesterday, how my little hayride analogy about how I'm pulling my little hayride around and everybody's in the cart with me, and my narrators and my editors, my proofreaders, my beta and ARC readers. We're just all like this little team, and I just feel so lifted up and grateful for them.
sign me up for a better reader.
Yeah.
I will devour. But no, literally, TikTok can be astronomically helpful. And I'm
Hmm.
glad that you found your narrators on there and you're able to go and talk about your books and you're able to form that community because not only Siren, but a whole lot of other books deserve to be read and they need to be read. They can be so healing. And for introverts like myself, it is a great way to feel like you have friends and you feel like you have a support system and you're being heard and you're able to work through your own things. I think that's the beauty of writing though.
Yeah, it is. You can express yourself. You can put everything down on paper. It really helped me work through things in my own life to sit there and say this is a problem, and then find a solution to it, and then eventually reach a place where you let it go or you rise above it. So that is a big theme in my books, I would say, is found family. And that reflects my real life as well. When I went through things, I had friends and family who were really there for me. And the indie book communities were really there for me. So found family is a big theme. And just rising above it. And I think that it's important. One of the tropes that's very often used in fantasy is the sort of the hero, or the blessed one, the promised one, the prophesied one. Sarita is not one of those. She's not born with extra superpowers. She's not born with this huge destiny or something. She gets to where she is just by enduring and continuing on. And I think that could be reflective of anybody, is just, you don't have to be born a hero. You can become one just by choosing who you want to be, and then just, not giving up.
I love that in your books and you really reflect that. Found family has become one of my favorite tropes. Not all of us are born with a supportive family or a family that's united. So being able to read that, especially in Siren, it heals a little part of you and you feel involved in it. Like you feel like you're in the book. And that's what makes it so beautiful.
I think when she reaches tides and she's with the other sirens and Meriden helps her, you know, I think that's where the healing really started.
That whole scene was phenomenal. I did not want it to end. She got so much that she needed and she was deprived from for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then
Yeah.
I
And
don't even need words.
it killed me. When I wrote that scene, I was crying myself. I was crying and I just thought, "Oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. I feel horrible." And I'm a registered nurse. So I think for me to do something like that was very counterintuitive to how I usually am. And I thought, "Oh my God," I had so much guilt over it. But it's a writing device, right? The dark night of the soul. She needed a dark night of the soul to keep going. And, she's still growing. Even in books 2 and book 3, she's still growing and she's overcoming. And I think that that's a good metaphor for life, really, is we're never going to reach a point where there's a happily ever after until we die. There's always going to be something life throws at us, and it's just your perspective, how you choose to overcome it.
1000%. Um, Life isn't beautiful and easy.
Mm-mm.
Nobody has an easy road in life. So bringing that into your book is painful, but it's needed, and like everything else in her life, she picks up. You,
Mm-hmm.
you you can feel your emotions, you can process, you can take the time you need to grieve, take the time to reflect, and then you stand back up and you continue.
Mm-hmm. Yep. She keeps on, and there's a whole chapter of that in Siren philosophizing, where she's talking about who she wants to be. And, she's very clear eyed about that. Like, this is my mother, this is my court, this is what I see other people do, but this is who I want to be. And she's sort of held back in a lot of ways from doing that in Siren while she's young. But then when she's leading an invasion in book 2, there's nobody really over her anymore. So she can start living up to what she sees as her best self and what she wants. And it's really starts to take power back. Of course, that's going to create its own conflicts, and you can imagine with whom.
Mm-hmm. I already know I hate her so much.
Yeah, I had
So
beta
much.
readers. I had beta readers write me and like, "Oh my God, I couldn't take that. I can't stand that person." And I got told that she's like one of the greatest antagonistic mothers since like Lady Macbeth and Cersei Lannister.
Mhm. She's something.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm taking it from your response. It's not gonna get any better in 2, so just bracing myself.
No, I will say a leopard doesn't change its spots. And she's used to being the one with all the cards and all the power. And once Serena starts taking back her own, there will be friction and there will be hell to pay, and Serena's willing to pay it.
Girl, there's friction the whole time though.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
some strong opinions about her, let me tell you.
Yeah, she's broken. And yeah.
I think she's past broken, but that's just my perspective.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We get a big eyeful in book 2. Actually, it's kind of an Easter egg. I think I posted a preview of a scene, and you get to see some of her very broken. She has gone from bad to worse. and yeah, it's going to come to a head.
I cannot spoil anything.
Any spoilers? Hmm?
Just everybody needs to go read Siren. Just go read it.
Yeah. And
No,
hopefully they take something from it. And I would just caution, I think that, a lot of my TikTok audiences, followers, they're very into romantasy, and this is not romantasy. This is definitely purebred epic fantasy.
listen, I did not know what I was signing up for when I started reading your book. I didn't. I thought it was going to be, I don't even know. I just thought it was going to be easy selling. It was going to be a feel good book. We were going to live happily ever after. Everything was going to be kosher. We were going to end on a great note. No,
Mm-mm.
no, that is not what happened.
No, no, we end on strong notes, but there's always going to be grief and strife in the world. And I think I want readers to sort of throw hands. I want to present everything in a way that it's very gray, morals and ethically. And you could argue multiple different ways to do something, especially when we get to uh, book two. When it comes out, there are multiple ways you can do something. And I want people to see those multiple ways and argue about them. I want to provoke conversations. What would you do in this situation? What do you feel about this? Who would you choose? How would you handle this? And I want people to think about it.
No, I love that you're setting up conversations. Um, and not only that, but real feelings and maybe not exactly real life scenarios, but real life scenarios, if that makes sense.
They feel real. I think the emotions are real for you. And then you can apply them however you choose. And I think that, oh my God, I think
I
that
love
that
your things.
my space. Yeah, I think that that is a good read on it because I started promoting the phrase like it's going to be a Rorschach test. When you presented all these moral and ethical quandaries, it's as much a reflection of you as a reader and what you want to see happen and what you feel and what you bring as you read it. Whether you agree or you disagree or you think this crosses a line or, like what would you do in this situation if you were between a rock and a hard place and every decision that you made were going to have consequences. And as an author, I'm very serious about living with those consequences. I I think that too many books they build up this horrible thing or this horrible person, but then in a page or two it's solved, and then by the next chapter it acts like that never happened and everybody's back to happily ever after. But no, I want it to sit with you. I want you to carry that weight because in real life that's what happens is we make these decisions and maybe there's no right decision. We make the best one that we can, but we carry it forward, and sometimes those are scars that last a lifetime. So I want you to feel that, and I don't want it to be easily resolved and forgotten. You need to stew on those consequences, otherwise they don't mean anything.
Yeah, not only that, though, it's light and dark. And I think that's what makes the world go around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, People can say that they don't have any darkness in them, and let me tell you, you do.
You do. You do, especially if you look at it in the context of what would you do for your children? If you're a ruler, what would you do for your people? What line is too far, and what would you do to save the ones you love? It could be ugly things that you choose to do, but in the name of a greater good. And that's part of the ethics that I bring into it is what do you think is right? And a lot of that is utilitarianism versus deontology. I'll be a nerd for a minute, but yeah, it's whether you believe that um, the ends justify the means, which is very much Mab, or Serena is like there is a true right and wrong, and I'm trying to follow it the best I can, but I am still a ruler, and I am still a siren, and I can still be savage. So I will cross those lines if it means saving others from having to do it.
You know, and I love that. It's real life problems. I personally thought I used to be the nicest person and, you know, I would never do no wrong. And then I became a mom and you'll do anything for your kids.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's just real life. It makes
Mm-hmm.
you think. Your books make you think. You know, and I'm not going to lie. I probably would have yelled at you if you were, you know, standing in front of me at 1:30 in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning. And I finished the book and I'm like, and this is where we're leaving it? I got some choice words for her tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah. But, the end of Siren does have like a page or so of book two. So you do get the little tease, and book two takes right off. There's no time jump. It's right off into the fire, and it deals with all of the fallout of Mab's orders at the end, and what's going to happen and all those choices. But there's a lot that gets uncovered. And it continues to build, because that's the way of all trilogies. I think there's a lot of pieces moving onto the board in book two, and then once they're in place at the end, then book three is just, it's time to it's time to settle old scores.
Well, I can't wait to dive into book two. And I'm just going to patiently, not so patiently, be waiting for it to be released. Um, I don't even, I don't even know what to say because I want to say it, but it's going to be spoilers, and I don't want to do spoilers.
It's
Just go
really
pick up
hard,
the book.
yeah. It's hard for me to
Yeah.
talk about knowing everything that's coming. I've written the end scene of book three. I know how it ends. I absolutely know how it ends. So to be promoting one book while editing a second book and writing the third book, it's like, oh my God, what can I say? What can't I say? It's very tricky.
Did you write the ending for book three and then write in through the middle and the top? Is that how you worked book three?
I knew basically the trajectory. I knew all of the main plot points and what was going to have to happen. But I was writing Siren, and there is a particular scene, and you'll recognize it because it's very much a mirror. There's a scene in Siren when I thought, oh my God, this is how it's going to all end. And so while it was fresh in my mind, I wrote the scene almost as a mirror of what happens in Siren. You're going to see a reflection at the end of book three, and you're going to be like, oh my God. So yeah, I would say that I wrote the ending of book three, maybe three quarters through Siren.
I already think I know what scene you're talking about
Yeah.
because there was a scene and I'm like, oh goodness gracious. Okay. I'm like, no, no, no. We still have so much more to read.
Yeah, I thought, if there was ever poetic justice, this is justice. So there's going to be justice, and it's going to be very poetic, but yeah. Yeah, once you read that, you're going to be like, oh, promises kept.
You deliver a lot of promises in your books. And right when you think you have it figured out, you don't. So,
No, no, there's so much that's coming that twists everything, and makes you question everything and what you feel and what you know. And there are things that people have said, I thought it was going to go this way, but then you didn't do it. And I'm like, I never said that I wasn't going to do that. I just said that this is book one and it's a trilogy and there's a lot of pages left to go.
Now I'm a little bit nervous.
Yeah, you should be. There's a lot. And I what can I say? Oh God, I can't even say.
Don't, I wouldn't even say it. Mm.
No, I can't say it. I can't say it, but I could tease that some of the things people have said they thought might happen in book one will happen in book two.
Girl, don't play with me like that. Are we going to see more gray in book two?
Yes, yes. Gray is there, and Rune is there, and
I see your facial expressions right now, and I don't like it. I'm I'm just gonna act like we did not just have that facial conversation because that spoke words.
that, yeah, yeah. There's that. There are new characters. I will say that much. There are new characters, and you will start to question the nature of friendships and bonds. I'll say that much.
I'm really excited. I'm
I'll
trying to
send you an
process my own
arc.
emotions, you guys.
I'll send you
I
an arc.
mean, and then we can come back and we can talk about book number two because I
Yeah.
mean, we should just have a conversation after the podcast to go through the emotions of Siren because
Hmm. Siren, yeah, it's intense. There's so much growing and so much that comes out of that and so much questioning. And I think that, people hear fake courts and they think, oh, I've heard everything when it comes to fake courts. They instantly go to ACOTAR or something like that, polished ballrooms and, polished dialogue and these high lords who are very elegant or that's not my fae. And a lot of times the other fae characters, they're hundreds of years old, but I take it a different way. This is sort of earlier, before it's so polished. It's a lot more primal. I have a soundtrack on my website and a lot of it is Heilung, and that's sort of the vibe. There are courts, but they are not extremely polished in all cases. It's a lot, it's almost like a prequel to what you know of Fae courts now. But I also wanted to explore young Fae. I wanted to get away from 500, 600, 1,000-year-old Fae. And, they may be immortal, but they also start as children and they go through a lot of the same kind of growth and early childhood traumas and things that make us who we are before they ever get to that point of being these mature, wise people. So my fae, they're making all these adolescent flawed decisions, impulsive decisions, and I want that to also mirror like real life flawed humans making these decisions, and not with the weight of wisdom and experience of centuries behind them, but just as fresh as we are. And yeah, I will say that it's not as polished with the marble halls and everything. It's a lot more primal. Hopefully that comes
so I
across.
have to I have to admit I haven't read Akatar.
Oh, really? Well, you're
Mm-mm.
coming in with a
I
fresh
don't have an
plate.
interest. No, I love the way you wrote yours. I'm not huge into jumping on the bandwagon when somebody says, "Oh, well, this
Mm-hmm.
series is so great, you have to read it."
Mm-hmm.
Just because there's been a lot of disappointment. Everybody feels that way from time to time. If you
Yeah.
jump onto a bandwagon, if a book goes viral, awesome, congratulations. Everybody reads differently. Everybody has different strokes. So, but no, I haven't read it, and yeah, I
It's
got lost in train of thought.
it's it's definitely a different vibe, and they're older, and the courts are very well established and very polished. But I use comps. I say mine is sort of like Akatar meets Game of Thrones because it's very much a win or you die kind of situation, but it's also a lot more primal. They're coming from a more tribal place where the courts exist. And I also did a lot of research when it came to characterizing them because, you know, some people will talk about growls, the male growls or something like that, but mine is a matriarchy, and they're sirens. They're predatory. I didn't want growling just to be a metaphor for like a deep growly voice. I want literal growls because they're predators. And that's a big tagline of Siren. When the Siren Queens came to power over the other Fae, it wasn't that they'd become civilized, it was just that the wolves had learned to live with the sheep. So when I was researching and studying, I was looking at animals and particularly wolves and how they will show their canines even as a form of communication, even if it's not a threat or it's not aggressive, it's communication. And big cats and things too, they'll show their fangs and they'll hiss a certain way. And I want my fae to be clearly non-human. And when I say growl, I literally mean growl, and they hiss, they bare their fangs as part of like an emphasis in what they're saying. So they're definitely a lot more animalistic too.
I love that in reading Siren they bare their when they bare their fangs and they growl. Was not picturing the growls that we hear on TikTok all the time. No shame to the TikTok growls. I'm just stating. That's not what I pictured.
Yeah,
Because you painted it in a different way. Look at your baby.
he wants his mummy. He's right here.
I love that. I want a Sphinx so bad.
They're awesome. They're so
I
sweet.
know we used to have a Sphinx, and yeah, they're
So
amazing.
sweet. It's Inca. His name Inca.
Where'd you come up with that name?
I it was based on a pet name of a sphinx that I lost, and his name was Monkey, but I used to call him Little Inky Dink. And so we lost him. He had it's common in sphinx to have heart problems, and we lost him to a heart issue. But I just grieved him so much, and so when I got Inca, I was thinking about Inky Dinky, and so I just Inca.
Sphinx do have a lot of health problems, and they are high maintenance. They are not low maintenance cats. Whatever people
No.
say that think getting a Sphinx is easier than taking care of a regular cat, you are wrong. You are highly wrong. They are high maintenance cats.
Yeah, they've got grease instead of hair. It's not that they're low maintenance without the hair. They're greasy.
And they get blackheads, and yep,
Yeah, they do. They do. But they're so loving that it's absolutely worth it. I mean, he's sitting here with his mummy. And they
they are
help me
very
write.
loving cats.
I've got three
Aw.
things. I love
I
them. But
mean, I'm
they
coming
help me
over to
write.
your house
Where are you? I forgot.
in Idaho.
Oh, Idaho. Oh, well, see, I'm in British Columbia.
Oh, you're a ways away.
Mm, yeah, Vancouver. But it's beautiful. I love it here.
I love that. I mean, it might take me a few days to get there, but
The Sphinx will be waiting. They like to help me with everything in the house, from making coffee to helping write all of my books. And I think I put on TikTok a video of Babs. I write often on a lap desk and then with my legs crossed, and then she sleeps on my legs under the lap desk like it's a little cave.
oh, I'm trying not to yawn. It's not because of you, it's because I stayed up way too late reading. And then you posted a video of one of your cats sitting on the coffee maker while you were making coffee.
Yeah.
They're actually laying on the coffee maker.
Yep, she does that, and now she's figured out how to actually use the buttons. And so yesterday I was writing, and I heard this noise. I thought, what is that? And yeah, it was just a hot cup of nothing going onto the countertop because she was sitting there and had pushed the buttons.
I love that. They're mischief too.
Yeah, they
Sphinx
are.
cat getting a mischief. They get everything.
They do. And they've got one of those exercise wheels, and they're high energy too. And they run in that wheel all day long, all day long. I sometimes have to change rooms if I'm in a Zoom call or something because the wheel is going so loud.
I love that.
Mm.
It's great when you have your fur babies to help you out.
They've been the greatest comfort to me, and I live alone, so it's just me and my babies and my books.
Listen, I am surprised that you did not put a Sphinx cat in your book.
Oh, no, I haven't put many sort of animal companions or anything. I I like people to sort of fill in. My descriptions, I think, can be fairly sparse too when it comes to people. I describe the scent of the sirens, their hair color, because they all have different colors in their hair, their eye colors, but I don't go into build and muscle and so much. I like people to just sort of be able to picture whatever they picture, and that's part of it. Is just like I describe the court, the trees, what's happening with the politics. But I think that I've been compared to Sanderson and Robin Hobb a lot, the way that I describe things and the way my books go. It's very much about the plot.
Listen, I love a good plot, though. I love plot. And there's not a lot of spice in your book for those who don't
Mm.
want a ton of spice. There is
Yeah.
a little, but there's not a lot of spice for those
No.
who are who for those who love plot and less spice. This is the book for you.
It's very heavy world building. I think there's really just like one scene that's spicy. There is, there are a couple more scenes in book two that are spicy because it's not gratuitous, it's plot based, it's plot forward. And among people who read and help me edit, I will give a shout out to Libby. She's got a sexual health degree, and I wanted to make sure that my scenes were safe, and did they need trigger warnings or did they need any sort of warning? And she read it all and she approved it all. She said, no warnings necessary. This is sort of wholesome and healing. So it's not kink, it's not smutty, I would say. It's not schmexy. It's it's real and
It's
it's
consensual.
affectionate. It's consensual. Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Oh yeah. But it's a healing kind, and a coming to love yourself again, and let down your walls again kind of vibe to it. So it's
Well,
not.
it's real life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you know, coming to let people in when you think that you've lost the ability to let people in. So
Sorry, I thought I was gonna sneeze.
oh yeah, no worries. Yeah, it's sweet scenes, it's healing scenes about realizing that you still have the capacity to love.
And that's what makes it beautiful. And there's there's no trigger warnings in that scene at all. It's very real life based.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't want it to take away. I don't want it to feel gratuitous. And there are complications in book two, I will say. I'm a little nervous about what people are going to think about those complications, to be honest. But that's why I had somebody read my scenes and make sure that it was still wholesome, it was still safe, and no warnings necessary. So it's definitely okay. I can't say much more about it than that.
Mm-mm. Nope, we can't. I mean, I'm talking like, as somebody who's not trying to give out a whole bunch of plot, you know, spoilers. It is so hard not to want to just word vomit it all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so hard, but it's safe. I don't really write that much spice. I will give you certain scenes, but it's plot forward. It's necessary to advance the plot, and it's not any kind of hot and heavy sort of "hoo boy," like it's very much about in the vein of everything else about the book. It's just coming to love yourself and make choices and grow and heal as a person. So yeah, don't expect. I would say Siren is maybe a point 0.5 pepper, maybe, and the next books are going to be maybe a 1 to a 1.5 in places.
No, I love how you focus your books on plot and the storytelling of it and and the world building because it's so important. You don't give out so much of the world building though that it overpowers the whole entire book.
It was hard. I am somebody, I read a lot of epic fantasy and I appreciate a lot of world building, like Brandon Sanderson. I wanted to provide that. I know that some people really love the lore and they get into the history, but some people just want to jump into the story. So I sort of compromised. There are appendices at the end of Siren, and so it will go into the lore and sort of the history of earlier queens and their reigns. So you can really deep dive into the lore if you want to. But I think with the forward, you get enough of where we're at to pick up and read if you want to as well.
I love that. And honestly, if older teenagers, wanted to read this book, this would be a great Fae book for them. Just saying.
Hopefully so. I think it's pretty safe. I think, not even much swearing. I can't think of much swearing. I made up a lot of my swear.
No, I was watching for that just because, we have teenagers and our 17-year-old. Granted, we allow them to swear in our house, so don't come for me. But I will not let them read a majority of my books that I have because they're heavy and smut. And, I have a lot of Stephen King and Dean Koontz,
Oh.
and, I'm super cautious what I let my kids watch and what I let them read. But I was like, oh my gosh, I think my son would like this because he's into, Dungeons and Dragons and he loves that kind of stuff. So I think it'd be safe for teenagers to read.
Oh, that's
100%.
nice to hear.
There's I love how you make up your own curse words in there though. It made me chuckle a couple times and I'm like, she's so freaking cute. Like, because I make my own curse words up when I'm around other people's kids. I'm just like, you know, throw out something into the wind and hope that nobody's trying to decipher it because we make up a lot of words around here.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't want to use our words. I wanted them to have, world specific words. So they're swearing, but it doesn't land as swearing because it doesn't mean anything to us. Like she tells Elsie like, "Oh, take off" or something like that, It's just I mean, Elsie's got wings, so it makes sense.
No, I love that so much. Is there anything you would like to talk about before we end the podcast?
I would just like to mention, as part of my world building, I have collabs that are going on. So I do have a store already with stickers, but I do have collabs that will help you immerse yourself in the world of Siren. There's going to be body care, like body butters that are scented like the sirens. And I'm also getting some Trident jewelry made because it's the Trident throne. And yeah, the audiobook coming out. So I'm working with like this whole crew of people helping me sell the world of Ardean. And Yeah, I would like to hear from people, especially because I stir things up. I kick the ant nest when it comes to ethics and morality and true gray decisions, right? I love to hear from people what they think and where would it land for them and what would they do, and even sometimes when it comes to other characters, who would you pick or who would you sacrifice, or I don't want to use that word too heavily, but I'm trying not to spoil, but I just like to hear from readers, like, how did it land for you, and what do you think of her choices, and what would you choose to do in that situation?
I'm going to be writing a review at 4 o'clock this morning. Let me tell you, the words were blurring on the page, and I
Oh,
was like, I'm almost done. I can't stop reading. Um, you're almost there. So I will be writing a review on Goodreads, and
awesome.
I did see your lotion scents and your collaborations that you're coming out with. People need to go follow you on TikTok too, um, and download this book or buy it. Do you have physical copies available or no?
I do. I've got physical copies. I offer signed copies in my store as well, and book boxes will be coming out that have the scent products and everything along with signed copies when we do the big promo for book two. And yeah, I would say I'm definitely most active on TikTok. I have almost no presence on sort of Facebook and Instagram. It's very much TikTok. Book talk community, indie author community is where you'll find me. But I love to respond to people. I always do respond to people, so feel free to write me. I thank you very much for your reviews. I think there were some reviews that came in yesterday that pushed Siren up to a 4.7. So I'm very humbled and grateful for that.
I think it's higher than that.
Really? That's
Mm.
great.
Yeah, it's higher than that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I was going to write a review as soon as we got off today.
Oh, thank you. Reviews help so much.
Right now.
Reviews help indie authors so much. It helps us know where we're at and how people find our writing, but it also helps legitimize us in the eyes of people who might not read an indie author otherwise. If they see lots of reviews and they say this is actually a good book, then maybe they'll take a chance on us indies out there.
I absolutely think that people are sleeping on indie authors
I
just
do.
because they need to read them more. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's 4.6.
4.6. Yeah, I think on Goodreads and Amazon is 4.7. It did a week after Siren's release. It spiked. It hit number 5 for epic fantasy on Amazon. So,
I'm
I guess
so proud of you.
thank you. That's pretty good for an indie author to go that high, to be a top 5 bestseller is pretty darn good. Now it's lower than that now. It was a spike, but I could say that it did reach that high, and I'm so proud of that. And for our community as well to be taken seriously as indie authors is very important to me.
Absolutely. I really enjoyed you joining the podcast, and hopefully we can do it again when you release Twilight, which I'm sure I'm going to have a lot to say about that too.
Oh yeah, you will. Oh
Mm-mm.
yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, you're like, just wait, buckle up. You're not even prepared.
Buckle up. But thank you very much for having me. I appreciated it.
Thank you, Isla. I appreciate you.
Thanks. Bye.